Good afternoon, committee members and other parties of interest. This is the Reconvened Evaluation Committee meeting for RPS 25-00379, Professional Architectural/Engineering Services for the CDBG-DR Single Family and Housing Repair and Replacement Program. My name is Ethan Kersey, and I'm the buyer assigned to this project. This meeting is being held in part by means of communications meeting technology and has been publicly noticed. Active participation will be for committee members only. Provisions have been made for any member of the public desiring to have access to view the meeting. The recording will also be available after the meeting has ended. Please be advised that the cone of silence is still in effect. All meetings and correspondence must include me. Again, for the record, this meeting is being recorded and has been publicly noticed. At this time, I'll ask each committee member to reintroduce themselves for the record, beginning with the committee chair.
Cheryl Howell, Assistant County Administrator, Community Impact Chair.
Brenda Biasia, Managing Director, Affordable Housing Services.
Ralph Parkinson, Management and Budget Office.
John Muller, Director of Facilities, Royal State County.
Tim Rogers, Engineer with Water Resources Department.
Sarah Williams, Architectural Services Manager, Capital.
Nicole Gelber, Compliance and Monitoring Manager at Affordable Housing.
We also have one other member from Procurement Services in the room with us today.
I'm Tisha Zhang, Senior Buyer.
Thank you. On December 8th, 2025, the Evaluation Committee met and requested oral presentations from all potentially acceptable proposers for RPS 25-00379. These presentations were completed on January 6th today, and the recordings of such presentations will be made publicly available. The committee will now discuss and score the proposers based on the evaluation criteria set forth in the solicitation. The Evaluation Committee Chair, Cheryl Howell, will lead the discussion, and we will go in alphabetical order, starting with Barrel Project Engineering. And with that, Cheryl, I will turn it over to you.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you so much, committee, for committing your time and effort towards this project. And I will get started with Barrel. With Barrel, I scored under ability of firm and personnel a 34 out of 35. And that was really based on the strong local inspection and the structural engineering bench. For the area of experience with similar projects, there was a total score of 25. I scored them 24 out of 25. They had extensive FEMA, HUD, and post-disaster housing inspection programs already in place, appear to be very good, solid programs. For the area of ability to meet schedule and budget, they received a score of 18. They had good work order responsiveness and audit-ready systems available in their proposal. And for the area of current and projected workloads, out of max score of 20, I gave them a score of 17. They had moderate staffing size relative to program scaling. The total score that they received from me was.
Don't worry about total right now. We'll go one by one.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I'll punt it over to Brenda.
So for Barrel Engineering, I scored them a 30 out of 35 on ability of the firm. Firm's experience with projects of similar, do we want to stop there? Because
I think at the beginning of our meeting, we talked about, I think, we're doing consensus. We're doing consensus. So Brenda, I think maybe relative to as a consensus, at least it would help me how you feel in relative to Brenda's or to Cheryl's scores.
I don't believe anybody's perfect. That's just sort of where I'm at.
Yeah.
I can, based on their oral presentation, I would be okay going up some based on how the rest of the committee felt. But I don't agree that they're, 35 out of 35, but that's just.
Yeah. I think there were 34, right, Cheryl?
Oh, you were at 34?
Yeah.
I was at 30.
Okay.
Yeah, so what the one area that was 25 out of 25 on the second one.
And do we want to tackle this one criteria at a time?
Right, I think it's probably.
And then
easier.
finalize that.
Yeah.
Just a recommendation.
So I would be okay with Cheryl's score 34. based on the oral presentation that was made today. I scored these one.
I was very impressed with the proposal in general. I think it did a good job of tying back to our actual RPS. I scored them 32, which is very close to Cheryl's 34. I could live with 34.
I'm fine with Cheryl's. But great. But, and I thought I'll just say this, I felt, hearing their presentation versus reading their document the first time, I felt a lot more confident.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the major dissenter. I scored them 20. Solid engineering chops. I am not at all convinced they're bringing the architecture component. They did have an architecture sub on today. Whether that was a change or not, I don't think it really matters. But listening to that person's experience, that person was a general contractor and no doubt a very competent one. Sounds like their business partner was an architect. And that's 50% of the proposal to me, showing they also have the architecture chops.
My turn. So, based off of their initial proposal, then today I did increase their score quite a bit, just because I think they came with more answers to the questions that we had. So I appreciate that we had time to clarify that with them. I had them scored, on the lower end of that category, that they do have that superior experience, but not like we were saying perfect. So I'm okay with Cheryl's score. I'm in the same bucket of scoring, if that makes sense.
I scored them at 30. It was lower too, until I got to today, so we bumped it down to 32.
We,
I mean, that clearly seems to be the consensus of
that's the goal,
everyone
to
but
come to
me,
another
so
most comfortable.
I'm not gonna stand in the way of that.
We could certainly bump it down to 30.
30, were we all at?
Maybe.
32.
32, okay. Okay.
Everyone's good, 32 for Beryl A1.
Okay.
Yeah, good. That's next one.
And the next area is experience with similar projects.
So I originally scored them a 21, and again, based on the information that they provided today, I would be okay with Cheryl. Yours was a 24, I think, Cheryl. I would be okay moving to a 24 on it.
And I also would be okay with the 24.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that. I thought those were great projects.
Okay, same.
24, everybody good with 24?
Everybody good with 24. The next area is ability to meet schedule and budget.
Okay, so here I scored a 17. And I felt better about their ideas about pre-engineering and pre-design and being in alignment in order to go to permitting. So I think that would help them get to the schedules and budgets more accurately. So what did you score them?
I scored them at 18.
Okay, I'm only a point away, I'm fine with that.
And I scored them a 17 as well, but it's in the ballpark, so I would be okay with an 18.
I go either way, 17 or 18. They got 45 people. I'd probably tweak them down a point, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I scored them a 17.
I had a 16, so same.
And then 15, but top score, I guess. 17.
I'm good.
I think that seems reasonable.
Okay. And the last category is current and projected workload, max of 20 points. I scored a 17.
I scored a 16.
I scored 17.
I'm fine with 17.
I also scored a 17.
I also scored 17.
Okay,
So I'm good with 17.
everybody good with 17?
Yep.
17 criteria 4. We'll do sums at the end so you can move on to your next firm, Cobalt.
Okay, next was Cobalt. Cobalt, I, for the area of ability of firm and personnel, I scored a 32. And can we just change it a little bit and just do that one area and go around?
Yep.
Okay, I scored a 32 on that. I thought they were, the specialized DR inspections and the design part, I was impressed. Really impressed.
Yeah, I'm good at that number too.
I scored them a 30, but I could live with your score.
If you guys don't mind expounding, just a touch.
So I scored a 29 originally, but again, after hearing the oral presentations and really drilling down into their timing process, and they have a very firm grip on what each of their professionals is required to do. And I felt like they had the bandwidth to do that.
No, I think they had comprehensive abilities, and I think their proposal didn't necessarily reflect their true abilities, and that was kind of the challenge with their proposal. But again, I thought 30 was my score, but I could live with 32.
Okay,
Yeah, I have like a 31, but I'll go 32 because they do have, it's hard to ignore that they have really worked on a lot of projects in a lot of states. But they, I wish they would have expounded on that a little bit earlier. They did today.
Right.
So I'm comfortable with 32.
So I think I'm just gonna be like a little offset on all of these, which is fine. Like I scored them a 28 and because I thought they were outstanding. That was 28 is that to me. So if that's the definition of 32 for everyone else, I'm not here to be an obstacle.
So based on the scoring criteria, my original score for them was a 29, I think, because that specifically says superior level of experience, which I think that this firm has.
Yeah.
I put them on the low end because I thought that their proposal was lacking and expounding on that. After listening to them today and how they go through the process of putting out their drawings and everything, I did raise that score, so I'm comfortable with it too also.
I'm comfortable with the 32. I'm at a 30, but, their mention of DOB and they keep everything in-house, no subcontractors. Okay, right, 32, and their experience.
okay, I just want to kind of go around the room and, again, any concerns? We're at 32 right now, any concerns? Okay, 32.
32 for Cobalt and
32 for Cobalt A1. And so for A2, experience with similar projects, I scored them a 23. They had direct involvement in Florida, Texas, California, Alabama. I mean, just everywhere. I was super impressed. And I want to say that I'm in agreement that I was impressed with the proposal, but even more impressed when they did their oral presentation. So 23.
I scored them a 24, only because the depth and breadth of what they did was so close to spot on that I felt that a 24 without, again, going to the perfection, was appropriate here. So I'm just a point.
Okay.
We'll see what everybody thinks.
And I scored them a 22. They clearly have, tremendous experience. My challenge was tying to their proposal to the actual scoring, because they kind of did their own thing. But I could live with jacking up to 23.
I have a lot of experience, so I was high. I'd give them a 25, but I'll go with the consensus, whatever it was at the end. I mean, they have done it in a lot, but in more than a few disaster sites.
So I scored them a 20. Again, I think these are very impressive projects. The only thing I noticed that gives me this much pause is that the people, super impressive, don't match with the projects. Like the projects weren't on a lot of the folks' resumes. And the folks' resumes didn't include a lot of the projects, so that's a big firm. And that's probably gonna happen sometimes. That's the only thing that gives me a smidge of pause.
Noted.
So my initial scoring was a 24 also, because just from all the proposals that we had, I don't think anyone has as much specific DR work as they do. So that's kind of where I started to look at superior, which is what that category says again. And so in that range, I think they're on the higher end of that range, that's all. But noted on the resumes.
Great point.
I have them at a 22, but if we're scoring Beryl at a 24, I would say that they're either at that or higher.
We're scoring relative to the criteria, not each other.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, the scale of the project that we have here and what they can, work on, I think that they're close to 25.
We had some 22, we had 24, we had 23, we had 20,
I think 23 's in the
23
middle.
consensus.
Yeah.
23, okay.
23.
23, and so we're gonna move over to the next area. And the next area is the ability to meet schedule and budget. And I scored them an 18.
I scored them an 18 as well, based on their oral presentation today.
And I just want to say I scored them 18 based on my volume-based work for Seymour optimized delivery, let's see, and permitting. Yeah, so I just want to add some context to it.
I scored them 16, and their verbal presentation certainly helped fill in a lot of blanks today. But again, these agencies put a lot of work into these proposals, and on the written proposal did not address these issues comprehensively. Just put them 16.
And for the same reasons, as much as I love them, I gave them a 15 in this category.
Okay.
So I would have liked to have seen. The what I saw today, the first time, I guess, for a step forward. I had 15 on them.
Okay.
So I am also gonna go with a 15. I think the verbal presentation did fill in a lot of information about schedule management. We ran out of time before we started talking about budget.
I'm at a 16 also, again, based on those scoring criteria of this is a good understanding or a superior understanding. I have a hard time saying superior since we didn't have that written information and we only got to touch on it for 15 minutes today with them. So that was kind of where I'm at.
No.
I'm at 15 as well, just based on the proposal.
So we got some 17s there, we got some 15, 16,
Sure.
18's fine.
16.
Let's go 16.
16 is good. Okay. And the final category for this organization is the current and projected workload, maximum 20 points. I gave 17. And I did that based on staffing dedicated almost exclusively for DR programs. So,
Yeah, I'm at 17 as well.
I'm at 16, and again, the verbal presentation filled in a lot of gaps in my mind.
I had a 17. I'm struggling 17 or 18 with them, but I could see either, but 17 is what I have on. I mean, I also, I really like the fact that they have all their employees.
mhm.
So I scored a 14. We did get more good information from the verbal presentation today. And they certainly have a lot of staff, which I think is very important. But I also had to kind of infer the availability of that staff.
I was at a 17 also.
Okay.
17.
Okay, we got mostly 17s, we got a six, what was it 16?
Yep.
16, 16, we had a 14.
Everybody else was.
16, we got 217, 17, 17, we got 118.
It sounds like 17.
I feel
I think 17.
Everybody, we can live with 17. We
17.
can live with 17, yes. Hey. No,
Up next, we have CSA Center.
CSA Central. CSA Central, out of 35 points for the ability of firm and personnel, I gave CSA a 26. I know, I'm more liberal. You know, it excited me when I heard somebody score higher.
I scored CSA at 28.
Oh, yes. Okay,
I scored them a 26.
okay,
CSA, 27.
all right.
We expound a little bit on this.
They're good experience.
Broad experience in many areas.
Thank you.
I just stated that they were a nationally ranked firm with over 60 years of experience in DR, primarily infrastructure, but yeah.
Yes, I mean, don't forget, so CSA, again, I'm going back to disasters. I actually looked, there are contracts there for Sandy.
Mhm,
That's bubbling. And so
mhm.
they're, you know, what they talked about and they're learning. It's there.
And this is also one of the organizations that's using Hollow Builder and LiDAR, which I think are kind of emerging best practices.
So I scored 24. Remember, I'm always gonna be off that. But
People are
how
telling me.
is this for, here, I'll expound. So I have a checklist, right, of everyone that, had, like, each discipline that I saw, they're the only ones that have a check in every box. Engineering, architecture, structural, electrical, geotech, civil, and public outreach.
24.
Yes. And that's, right, I think that's outstanding, so.
Thank you.
So I am on the opposite end of you, honestly. I scored them a 34, just because again, looking at the scoring criteria, I agree with you. They had every consultant possible. And so at the county, we don't necessarily have to use them, but I like that they're available. So we could use their grant manager, we could use those cost consultants. It's a nice resource to have and not an unexpected cost along the way. I also felt like their proposal was the most professional and well thought out and put together as far as the amount of time that it took to put in. They answered all of our questions up front and again today. So just the amount of time that they took to tell us about who they are, it seemed like we were an important client to them to put that into it. So
I think so too. I think I differentiated a little bit, and I do want to add to the discussion here. Because they focus on infrastructure as opposed to
the housing.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
But I do think that they have the they do have the single family experience through Hurricane Sandy. So I scored them a 30
Okay.
based on that.
Okay, so we got some differentiation here. So we got a 34, 30, we got a 24 outstanding. We got 26s, 28, 26.
I just look at this
Did you-
scoring criteria.
You see them as a 30?
Me,
Who had? a 30?
I had 30.
she had
She
30.
had 30, she had 34.
Sarah had 34.
I had 26, so they primarily focused on infrastructure type projects. They had some, but that was a focus on.
Yeah. The 30 consensus on this, 29, 30.
I will go to a 30. I'm at 28.
I think 29, 30 is probably right in the middle of where we're at.
Right, our lowest is 24,
Yeah.
which is,
Established kids in aberration.
We've,
Okay with that.
we got.
Fair.
We got some
so
people.
let's say 29. Can we all live with 29?
Oh, yeah, yes, absolutely.
29.
29 for CSA A1.
Okay, and for A2, for A2 experience with similar projects, 25 max points. I had a 16.
I had a 21, and the reason I had a 21 was because of their extensive experience, whether it's on infrastructure or not, they still had to work within this type of project and understand disaster recovery. And having heard today that they work with emergency management in Florida, since Hurricane Andrew, was pretty impactful. So. that's one.
And mine, I'll repeat, my kind of differentiation because they primarily focus on infrastructure. And the housing, I just want to say this, the housing portion of this is quite different. When you get into like the duplication of benefits, when you get into some of the qualifications and things, it's a lot different from, let's say, your infrastructure project where you come in and you're doing an area development. So that's my explanation to the committee. So y'all understand.
And I also scored them a 16. I thought they had robust infrastructure experience, but somewhat lacking in the residential area.
I don't know about all that, but I gave them higher just again, because they've worked in disaster recovery. Comparing, when I look at this, the requirements, they do, admittedly, they had one and they're learning from it, but that's helpful. And New York City is probably not the easiest place to work. So I had them at 22. Did I say that already?
You did.
Okay.
Said that. What?
I was at 21.
21, 26, and 22.
So I had 14. I didn't think the projects were a great match, aside from the one, which was a fantastic match. I also noted that for folks that I'm convinced to know what they're doing, the resumes didn't match the projects. The people on the resumes weren't the people on the projects and vice versa, for the most part.
Okay.
I have them in the bucket of superior past performance. I think that the New York project is so long also that it encompasses probably a lot of past experience that they've had to learn from the beginning of that to now. They probably would have done things differently 100 times, right? But they didn't know what they didn't know, and that all of those programs were probably so new, plus being in New York. So I can appreciate having that kind of past knowledge and how we would do it moving forward. So I just felt like they were in that at least more than adequate or superior range.
I have them under 20.
Okay. So we got 2 16s, we got a 20, 21, 22, a 14, 24, and a 24,
I had a 20.
and a 20, and a 20.
Where were you?
You're at 16,
16.
18,
I was gonna say 18 or 19.
19.
I'd say at least a 19. I mean, they
Okay,
I mean, I want to give them some recognition. They have done a major, or doing.
19, and so I'll go around the room because I need to. 19,
I'm good with it.
you can live with 19, Kim?
19 for criteria.
18. Okay. And then, let's see. Next criteria, this would be a 3. That was ability to meet schedule and budget. I gave them a 15. They had some advanced real-time compliance and grants. Some and they had a Q&A system, but I wasn't really, because they didn't focus on the housing piece of it, it kind of didn't come together for me. So, I had some concerns there and that was, I gave them a 15.
I gave him a 17.
And
I gave them a 16, and I noted that they were using a detailed project execution plan, which I appreciated.
This is 3, the third one, right?
yes,
Sorry, I'm losing my track. Okay, yeah, I was just looking at how many people they had well on this one. I scored them a 18. on this one.
okay.
I scored them a 17. They said all of my buzzword, I know, they said all my buzzwords.
Hold on.
Years ago,
Back to
early
table.
value engineering, templates. I was sold. I was sold on templates. You had me at templates.
So we didn't talk a lot about this today, but I thought that their original proposal had a lot of detail about this. So originally I had scored them an 18.
Mhm.
And one thing I noted was that they put together a specific section about what the PM was going to do for us specifically and her role. Not just like her resume or the projects that she's been working on, but like how she really is going to interface with us on a day-to-day. And that's probably a learned process along the way from other projects too. So I appreciated that aspect of just kind of extra details, I guess.
Right.
On helping us understand like budget scope and kind of walking us through the process. So I felt better about the fact that she would be there to kind of be our backup.
Mhm.
Had them at a 15.
And so we got some differentiation here.
I'm sorry. The list I read off, the buzzwords that got me, that was our next. I'm reading off the wrong list. I scored these folks a 15. My comment is this is boilerplate stuff, but it's good boilerplate stuff. I still think, but I didn't, not, I was at a 17, 18.
So we got 15,
17,
17,
18.
18,
15,
18,
to go with 16,
16, 17.
Year 16.
you go with 16.
Whatever, 16, 17, whatever you think.
Okay.
I mean, they,
I thought they were good. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
When I look at my notes here,
Yeah.
I see, you know, like, and I want to give credence to what you were saying as well. Like, the learned experience you get from working on a project
Yeah.
for a very long time, you learn a lot of stuff that you would not repeat. Right, so, and even though they didn't focus on a lot of that, I want to say, you know, and their proposal was it was a good solid proposal, and so easily, 17,
17.
17, everybody, 17, 17. Okay, and then our final area for them is, the current and projected workloads. Current and projected workloads. I gave them a 15. They got a large staffing. They didn't really talk about how they could scale, and I asked them too. You know, I came back in to ask them in different ways how they might be able to scale. And so you know, this is an extremely large program, and they have worked in other areas, and they're doing some things in Caribbean as well. But yeah, that was a concern for me, so that was.
I have about an 18. I thought that they gave us at least an honest peek at what the current workload was for each key staff member and what the current availability was. And in their presentation today, they pretty much said, you know, you have to adjust as you go. So I judge them based on sort of an understanding of where they are today and knowing that that's not static. That has to be something that gets adjusted as time goes on.
I scored them a 17, and I particularly appreciated the staff availability chart. And whoever put this chart together deserves a medal. It's very comprehensive, and I know with the plans can go to heck, but, I think they did a good job charting out there.
Good job.
Yeah,
I thought they did a good job too.
yeah, sure, I agree with your comments, 16.
Okay, great, thank you.
Ethan doesn't like it, I don't expound enough. Thank you for saying that.
So I scored a 17. I really struggle with this category because everyone's gonna tell us they have the right amount of availability.
Just gotta make sure you double check your scores.
But that chart was great. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think this category is difficult because it's a balancing act of like, what's the right amount of availability? But I do think that they put a lot of effort into showing us what they have as projects right now, who they have working on them, and what their plan is for the future. So I also have them at a 17.
I had them at an 18. I think having that applicant-based experience in the past really helps them gauge workload.
Okay. Can everybody live with a 17?
Yeah.
17, sir.
On to the next, which is forefront architecture.
Forefront architecture. And we'll have notes on it. Anyway. Keep them. On A1, the ability of the firm and personnel, I gave them a 31. Probably, let me see here. On my notes here, I have, they got over 60 office staff. They have direct, contracts with some local government. They're not all like DR, but they understand how, to work with the population, of people. But they do have a large disciplinary firm in Florida with some in-house architects. So, it's gonna be this.
I scored them a 25. And I scored them a 25 mostly because of the personnel's lack of CDBG-DR experience, not because I didn't feel they had the depth and breadth of the disciplines.
Scored them a 29.
Mhm.
Again, I was looking at their experience with Lee Cares, Ocala Single Family, and Elevate Florida.
Mhm.
So that ties into what we're doing here.
Yeah, Brenda, I was more in line with your comments. I have it at 26. So, I think I asked the question, on this one, a little bit of concern on the pre-architecture side, their capacity.
So I had them scored 22. On my checklist, I don't have anything for geotech civil, so I thought they were missing that. The written proposal, my comment is that I don't see a lot of residential. And clearly they heard that because they highlighted some of their residential experience. I did ask just the question, because of my ignorance, I don't know the difference between CDBG, CB, and DR. And my understanding is that they're very different things.
Mhm.
My only other nitpick here is, I did ask, I had a question about the project manager specifically, looking at his resume, and which obviously, knows what he's doing. But I asked him, what's his specific residential experience? And the answer was to talk about a municipal or a commercial marina. So that leads me to think that maybe that project manager doesn't have a lot of residential experience. So I think that could be a little bit of a hindrance.
In the school,
Where did I say? 22.
22, yeah.
So again, going back to the scoring criteria, my opinion is that they have an above average level of experience, but not a superior level of experience. So I had them at a 27. Just says that bucket's between 22 and 28. So again, I think they have a lot of experience with some federal funding projects, not the CDBG-DR
Right.
specifically. It is a mouthful. And, but I do think there are some things that they can pull from other projects, you know, so that's why I think that they have some above average level of experience, but just not at next level.
Okay, agreed. I gave them a 27. I think their ship, their home, their CDBG experience is all applicable. They do have a recent disaster, Hurricane Ian, so I'm at a 27 with them.
Okay, and so I came in at 31, I can shift down to 27, 28, 27, 27, you took 27?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right. 27,
27 for forefront criteria 1.
27. Okay, we're in A2 now with experience in similar projects. And that's a max of 25 points. I gave them a 21. Just because of the amount of experience they have with housing programs. They do have a recent DR experience, but the other housing programs to me were applicable. So, yeah.
I was at an 18. Again, I felt that there was a lot of CV projects in Lee and Marion County, but I didn't really get a sense that there was CDBG-DR specific experience. Lee Cares, it, you know, I think is an important project, but I'm not familiar with that project, so I don't know how similar it is to DR. And they didn't really distinguish it.
Okay. What was
Oh, my score was an 18.
18? Okay, thank you.
I gave them 20. And again, I focus on the lead cares and the Ocala single family.
I did too. I saw that, but Brenda, I'm more in line with, I had 18, your score. I was there, but just wasn't at the same level as the previous one.
Okay.
So I scored them an 18. I was actually sold on these projects. I thought they were really good. And I noticed that the people on the team were listed on the projects, even if those projects weren't on their resumes. I think they kind of did themselves a disservice there. Because looking at the resumes, I thought, these people don't do housing. And then you get to the projects, like, oh yeah, they absolutely do.
I also had them at an 18. Again, the scoring criteria, I think they're more than adequate, successful projects. But my notes about this were, it's hard to judge because they put the project by their tasks. So that the fee that they got for their tasks, so how big the project scope really was is hard to tell. That's on.
I had them at a 20.
Okay. So we got a couple of 20s, we got a 21, we got a super 18. Right, and so, would you guys be okay with the 19?
I think so. I think that'd be appropriate. 19.
Fair. 19. And here, and ability to meet schedule and budget. And so, I thought they had a well-established, cost control, and, a way of phasing, construction delivery, based on the project. I was impressed with the type of projects that they have, so I gave them a 16 out of 20.
I'm in the same place, 16 out of 20, same reasons.
I gave them 15. They did a good job of documenting the real-time cost management system.
It was 17, so there's how much of 16 average going on.
No averages.
I know.
Don't
Can't
take the
average.
words.
I did give them a 17, but it's for the same reason.
Okay, so I gave them a 15. I thought the discussion was really good. Now, is this these are the folks that had 2 inspectors?
Forefront, hold on a second.
The office.
Yes, no, that was my question.
The office staff.
I don't know if that,
Yeah.
well,
Yes, they have to inspect.
Yeah, that, I gotta say, that makes me really nervous. I don't know if that belongs in this.
Well, what he said. Just what the. There should do inspections.
Right.
Which is legit, so. Yeah, they had a good discussion, there wasn't anything. You know, to blow my socks off, it was good, it was solid. You know, I was kind of lukewarm on
I restored.
it. 15,
Oh.
yeah.
I was also at 16 for them. Again, I felt like in the scoring criteria, they're in the bucket of they have adequate time and available personnel, but again, not a superior situation.
I'm at a 17.
And so, we got 16, 15. Yeah, are y'all okay with 16?
Yeah, 16.
16 it is, sir. Okay, and we're at A4, and that's for the current and projected workloads, maximum point of 20, and I gave them a 50.
I gave them a 17. Yeah, I gave them a 17.
I want to say I gave them I want to expand on it just a little bit, sir. So I gave them a 15 because they do have multiple office capacity, but when they started talking about the breakout of the work, like the inspections and things of that was a little bit of a concern for me. So anyway,
What
I
pushed,
was
go ahead, I'm sorry.
right. I wasn't like super excited about about that, and so I know that they can use up the staff, but they didn't delineate that.
For me, what pushed me over to the 17
Mhm.
was that they had a commitment to a 24-hour response. And to me, that's impactful, because when you need an answer, you need an answer. You don't need for it to go to 3 different levels before you get one. And I thought that commitment was important.
Right, right, thank you.
I gave them 14, same line of thinking. Basically with 2 inspectors and a project manager doing inspections, I'm thinking 2 inspections per person per day, so a capacity of 6. It meets the criteria, but there's not a lot of reserve.
Yeah, so I actually gave them a 17 here. I thought they had, I realized that I was going to ask the question about the staffing, which I counted for in A3, but in this one, I thought they had a very good section. I saw the response time. They've got, they're leveraging software and programming and everything. If you look, it was actually I thought well written. I think they're up there with the other ones. I gave a 17.
So I gave them a 17 too. Yeah, really struggle with this category. I'm worried about the amount of staffing, but I didn't throw it on the last category, so I'm not gonna. And I thought their discussion was really good.
Okay.
So I had them at a 16. Again, I agree with their same.
I have them at a 15. I do think that they have a lot of current projects, and I think with the amount of funding for this particular program, they might have to work things out of it.
Okay, so we got some 15 to 14, some 17s, 16. 16. Can we live with 16?
You can live with 16? No, I'm gonna argue, that's 16. That's fine.
Right.
On to firm 5, innovation, design, and consulting engineers.
Numbers here. Okay. And so for innovation design, on A1 for ability of firm and personnel, for max score of 35, I gave them a 16. They, I just thought that they lacked a lot in terms of being able to deliver, for a project of this size.
Sorry, Cheryl, what was your score?
16.
It was 16. It was 16.
So I scored them an 18, but I also agree that I felt that they may have some capacity issues. Just with the size of this grant. And having 3 PEs and 1 architect and 4 inspectors, I don't know. I felt it was adequate level of experience, just maybe more people.
I scored them a 16, same concerns. I think they had 6 total employees with a backup capacity of 3 or thereabouts. And my concern was whether they could handle the workload.
I had a 19. Again, great firm. It's just, for me, it was the size.
So I'm gonna be the outlier again. I gave them a 20. I think these are super smart people. I do think there aren't enough of them. But I've got on the disciplines, they covered and talked about engineering, architectural, structural, electrical. No, sorry, engineering, architecture, structural, and geotech, civil. I didn't see anything for electrical, which does make me a little nervous. They're the only ones that brought up the lead-based paint and the asbestos though, and those are very important parts of the project. Now, other folks brought it up in their written proposals. They're the only ones that talked about it today. So if we could just clone each one of them, I think we'd be in perfect shape.
So, sorry, I switched to my other notes. I had them in this category at the adequate level of experience, for all the reasons that we studied. So I also have them at a 16.
Okay.
I have them at an 18. I didn't think that they had enough stuff.
Okay. So we got 16. And Kim, what was yours again?
20. Yeah,
I'm blown away. 20. So we got some 16s and I don't think we have any scores lower than a 16.
No, no. 16 to 20 years with your range.
From 16 to 20, here, how many 16? We got the 16s,
And then an 18, 19, 20.
18,
18.
18, sir.
Renovation design.
Right. For A1 ability. That was 18, right?
Correct.
On top of it, so. And so for A2, experience with similar projects. And it's a max score of 25. I gave them 24 out of 25 because they did have, I feel like they had the experience. With working with the influence.
So I scored them a 15 on the lower side of adequate, only because their CDBG-DR experience with those elderly housing units was not single family, it was more of a multi-family project. I don't really remember seeing anything about them doing single family.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at it. Well, they do have something.
Yeah. I thought they had great.
Yeah, they do. They have some. I scored, yeah, she scored on 24, I scored on 15.
And I gave them 18. They had some appropriate experience in that regard. But it wasn't really robust. I think I noticed 2 similar projects. So I give them
I'm with Brenda. I just, at 15, I think it's just the size and complexity for me. Not that they're doing, like I said, solid firms, smaller.
So I scored them a 15, but my 15's a good score.
Yes, it is.
They didn't have a lot of projects, but I do want to note that the project I thought most applicable, every single team member was on it. They all did that project together.
Correct, yeah, yeah, so, and their synergy better, you know, so, and then I wanted to score each category for, yes, you know, for what it's worth, not carry over from to another, yes.
So I also had them, in the category of, again, adequate successful projects, so I have them at a 15. My biggest issue, which has been from the beginning, was that they only gave us 2 projects to look at. So I wish that there was just more. So that even if it didn't relate, just so we could see what they do on a basis, so.
I have them at a 20. I think that they do have, even having any CDBG-DR experience, you know,
That's value.
has some value. And their references did mention that they were very nice to work with.
Yeah, and I probably want to say that I think that doing the DR programs in like, in the Virgin Islands and in Puerto Rico is harder to complete. Because it's harder to get, products, it's harder to get everything.
Logistics.
Yeah, right, the logistics of it, the infrastructure, the electrical, I like all of that, you know, so I think I thought about all of that, you know. So anyway, I'll get back to scoring right here. I did give them a very liberal score of 24. We have scores down to 15. We got a super 15 over there. We got 20.
You wanna go with 20? I didn't think about the logistics. That's a good point. That is a good point. So, 20?
20.
Mine they were 20.
Everybody okay?
That's a good point.
That is a good
It's a little hard. What comes before I is harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 20 for criteria 2?
Yeah.
20. And so for A3, ability to meet schedule and budget, and that's 20 points, I gave them a 16 on that. And so I just thought I thought the team itself, a small team, but mighty team. And so I think they've worked on good projects together. Not necessarily a whole lot of projects, but looking at the difficulty in trying to do a project either in the Virgin Islands or in, you know, in the islands or in Puerto Rico, it's just difficult. And so to have all the project to completion, and this is, these are current. So this is not like, you know, using your. Yes.
So I have them at a 17 for very similar reasons. They gave us a lot of information in terms of their current projected workload. They talked today about their availability, so that's where
Thank you.
I gave them a 15. They did a decent job of showing their availability and workload, but it's still very small organization.
We're doing schedule and budget, right?
yes.
Yeah, they're 15, for this one. They talked a lot about nimble, quick, whatever, but really what I wanted to hear was maybe ramp up or what you do if you do reach those.
And we did give them some opportunity to be able to kind of expound, kind of pull some things out, something.
So I think this is the category where this team really shone. I've scored them an 18. So, you know, not a lot of fancy software, but they said really the most important things that the engineer, think about the project. Clear scopes, early design decisions for value engineering, and templates.
So for this category, I also have them at a 16. Similar reasons that you guys were talking about. They do talk a lot of information, I think, in their written proposal that really talks more about it than we did today, which is fine, because we had other things to talk about today. But I agree that some of the things they wrote in here are really good to read about. So
Thank you.
I gave them a 17. I thought their templates and their budget were great. They were able to answer the HUD cost reasonableness question, which if you don't have HUD experience, you would not be able to answer, so.
Right.
And I just want to correct my comment because I was looking at the schedules on the other page. My scoring doesn't change, but I wanted just to clarify that I did review their ability to meet the schedule and budget requirements and base my score primarily on what was contained here.
Okay. Okay, great. So we got 15, 16, 15, 15,
I'm at
18,
18.
18. We got 17, 15,
I can't remember
15,
everybody.
18,
To write it down.
and 16 and 17. I got 16.
I must say 15.
Is an outlier.
No, I don't think so. I'm looking at, I know we're not supposed to, I'm going criteria, I'm looking at the schedules, but
Well, so
if you want to look where you have it, 16,
15 or 17,
That's fine.
their adequate level of experience.
16.
We're at 16, we got 118, 120, and so some 15, 17, and so line with the 16, that's what my recommendation is.
16.
That's good.
16.
Are we okay?
Yeah.
16?
Fine.
Okay, 16, sorry. Thank you, guys. And for A4, we have current and projected workload, and I'll also have a 16. So, as I said before, without just repeating myself, that I thought they, the bench is certainly not deep, but I think they're qualified, and they, to be able to do such a difficult project, and bring it to fruition, that's something about their ability to work together. But I gave them a 16 out of a maximum of 20 points, which is average score.
I gave them an 18. I felt that they had, based on the information that they put in here, a good understanding of what these projects involve in terms of timing. And so their ability to meet the schedule, although, the budget requirements, I'm not 100%, but that's where I have 7, 8.
Okay, we got 16, we got 18. Rob?
I'm at 17. And again, looking at how they projected their current projected workloads, the table and the graphical representation, I appreciate it. And they clearly have given thought to what's going to be on the plate. So again, 17.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rob. I gave them 17, same rating.
Good deal.
I also gave them 17. And,
It's like a 60.
yeah,
How about that?
It's like it's 20.
So I gave them a 16 in this category for the sole purpose of, if you go to the evaluation criteria, the difference between 16 and 17 says that they indicate backup staffing, which I don't think they have. So I give them at the high end of you have a lot of availability to work on this, but you just don't have that backup staffing.
Good, thank you.
I'll give them a 16 for all the reasons.
Okay, so for the good group here, we got 16. I'm gonna recommend 16, guys. Well,
17. Yeah, 17.
I'm good with that, 16.
you're good with 16?
Oh.
Okay, we have 16. 16. All right, and
Hubs of innovation, we'll move on to Jarrell McCants.
so we got the real mechanics on ability of firm and personnel. They did I've done like a variety of projects and did some affordable housing projects. Didn't list any DR, but I gave them a 29 for applicable type projects. So They're a local firm. They're small prime, but they have they got a lot of backup.
I have them at a 29 as well for the same reasons. They're familiar with affordable housing in general, costs related to that, so.
And familiar with even
And-
with our internal stuff.
And I have a 28, and again, I highlighted their history of CDBG and HUD projects, although a lot of them were multifamily.
27.
24. Yeah, there are a lot of very, qualified people, and they did have the subs on the team to give them those other disciplines, the engineering, structural, electrical, and geotech civil.
Mhm.
I was at a 28 for them. I think that the team that they presented is a really robust team, to your point. They have the right disciplines and really qualified firms, honestly, that are local.
Right.
I just didn't have enough to give them to that superior level, so again, above average level.
I gave them a 27. Just because it seemed like they had a little bit less experience with single family housing than they did in their other
Mhm.
types of projects.
And I think they really had an opportunity to expound on like that West River project. They didn't, right? And where they talked about the single family. I understand the project, but they had an opportunity to really expound on that. But they, but they didn't, and so I didn't ask any additional questions. So we are at we got 29s, we got some 28s, we got some 27s, 28. Everybody with the 28?
Yeah.
28?
I'm good.
Okay, 28 for Jerome McCants, criteria 1.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
28, yep.
28. And experience with similar projects out of a score of maximum 25 points. I gave them 19 points. I did take into consideration that they did some public housing assistance, though PHAs are funded under the THUD grants, right? And they have to follow a lot of similar guidelines. But they didn't necessarily demonstrate that DR experience, right? So they've done affordable housing projects, but even for county affordable housing projects, but I didn't feel comfortable, so yeah. They got 19 of those 25 points.
I gave them 20 out of 25, because of the familiarity and experience just in working with the county on projects. I think that goes a long way. But, yeah, I couldn't get past that.
And I give them 18, similar circumstances. They have a lot of multifamily experience, just not the robust residential that I would like to see.
Same reasons, 19.
Okay.
Gave him an 18, actually for a different reason. In my brain, I saw residential and I was good with that. I acknowledge there are probably big differences I'm not aware of. The thing that gave me pause is this is a small, really capable firm, very dependent on sub-consultants, which is fine, that's a good team. But there was nothing in there to tell me what kind of projects the sub-consultants did, who are gonna be a huge component of this team. I only know what the prime firm did. So that just gives me some hesitation.
In this,
18.
in this category, I gave them a 19.
Mhm.
We didn't spend a lot of time on that today, but I felt like their original proposal, I really loved the way that they put their project sheets together more than anybody else's, because they gave me these quantitative highlights about the project, about how it came in on budget, what was the benefit to the community, what's the local participation, and those quick bullet points I could go back and reference over and over again. I felt like that was really appreciated. That's kind of what bumped me up to that again, not into the superior level, but I still think they have a good adequate level.
I gave them a 20 based on their flood experience and based on their experience with affordable housing. They also mentioned documentation and records for 200. So they definitely have that experience.
And so we got, some a little bit less, some a little bit more. And, recommended
Were you the
19.
19th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
19, sir. Okay, ability to meet schedule and budget. You know, and just, even without that or presentation, I thought that they gave a really solid, a solid proposal, in their documents in, reference material. I gave them a 19.
I gave them a 15. I felt that they had a good understanding of scope, schedule, and budget, but I felt it was just a good understanding. I wish they would have given us a little bit more in the proposal.
I gave them a 16 and I had a note that I appreciated the exemplar of the project schedule they gave on my page 28. This is one of those ones that didn't have page numbers.
Right.
I started, it would be on page 28, but again, they gave an exemplar of the project schedule. It kind of made it concrete and operational for me.
What was your score again, sir?
What'd you give him?
16.
Yes, 16.
I gave him a 16. Kim, this is the one you just mentioned. You have a lot of information on the subs, right? For that, yeah, for that reason, but my interpretation of that was, it create a little bit for me of, okay, well, you know, it's great, fantastic subs, but you're heavily relying on subs versus having the right mix in-house, but I have a 16.
I gave them 16 as well, but I did really like the schedule template. I thought that was great. Other than that, it was good stuff. Nothing outstanding, nothing bad.
I actually agree with Cheryl. I gave them a 19 on this. I thought that they had several pages of pretty detailed information in their written proposal of how they have their schedule management control, their budget control. And again, looking at the breadth of all the proposals, I want to see that detailed information. To me, the sub-consultants is less of an issue as an architect. I understand that it's our role to wrangle all the cats, you know, so it's kind of less about what your, you know, schedule is and everything. I'm dictating that to you and you're, you know, falling under my umbrella. I need you to meet my requirements to be on my team. So that part doesn't bother me as much. But anyway, that's where I was at.
Thank you.
I'm at a 15. I thought they had great schedule management controls in their proposal. They gave a 5 to 6 month turnaround.
So we got a couple of 19s, couple of 15s, some falling in between 17.
Yeah. That's good.
17.
Yes. And we're gonna move on to A4. A4, current and projected workload, and for the same reasons, really, I gave an 18 on this. I just thought their backup documentations, the proposal, what was included in the actual proposal, not just what's talked about, it was there, it was on point. So 18.
I gave them a 17. I felt that they did give us a good idea of who was available over the life of the project, so at least for now.
I gave them a 17 and noted that they're using Microsoft Project and Asana to monitor staffing hours and SharePoint to monitor consultant coordination. So they have a clear plan. So
Yeah, I agree. I gave 17 for the same reason.
I gave 17 for the exact same reasons.
I also had a 17.
Also 17.
Okay, 17.
All around.
All around 17, so we, 17, sorry.
Sounds good.
Okay. And, plus architecture and planning. Okay, plus architecture and planning, they, out of a maximum of 35 points, I gave them 25 points. And that's for the ability of the firm and the personnel, so.
I had them at 25 as well. Same reason.
I have them at 20.
I was with Rob, I had a 20 on them.
I also had them at 20. I think we have, really talented architects and with subs, they did hit, structural, electrical, geotech, civil, so they did have the disciplines.
So I had them at a 22, again, just looking at the scoring criteria, I think that the staff they have has a very good, robust experience. It's not the, I think, direct experience we're looking for, but that's not to negate the experience that they have. I guess.
Correct, right. That's why I scored them so high, so I had to kind of, move away, mentally from that to,
Yeah.
but could they do this, right? Do they have it? Do they have what it takes to get this done?
Right,
So,
so some of
think
the
they-
projects that they presented are complex, and so that, again, if we're just looking at their ability, I think they have good abilities. It's just different abilities.
I'm at 22.
okay, 22, so 25, we got 20, we got 22, 22, what was your,
Mine was 20.
That was 20, that's fine, we're at 22.
22? Yeah,
22 for plus criteria.
22 for plus A1. Experience with similar projects, max of 25 points, they received 9 from me, 9 points.
I gave them 10. They just don't have a lot of experience.
I gave them 10 as well.
12.
Gave them 5, and I want to say those are beautiful, beautiful home
They
designs.
are.
So it's not the talent of the people, but, these are for private clients, not municipal clients, and just so opposite of what we're doing.
Yeah, not similar projects.
I was at a 9, again, I'm always going back to the scoring criteria. I think that size of projects is of value. I had a very expensive project, so just managing a budget of that size is what put me into that criteria rather than the lowest. But again, the wrong type of projects, so.
Okay, so we got 5.
10.
10.
It's been 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to torpedo them with any one category.
5 of it. Big.
I think I was the higher.
To all your scores.
Yeah, but
10 for criteria too.
10 for A2, sir.
Yes.
Okay, for A3, ability to meet schedule, and budget max up 20 points. I gave them 14 out of 20. I just think dealing with governmental budgets, federal governmental budgets, they're different, and so that was my reasoning. But no DR, no, very, very limited grant type experience.
I gave them a 12, which is on the higher side of adequate for this category, mainly for the same reasons.
Okay.
I gave them 11, same situation. Again, these folks appear to do beautiful work, it's just not directly meeting our obligations for this proposal.
Yeah, I was with you, Cheryl, I think there's a 14.
no, I had a 12. Pretty much the same reason. But this section of the proposal read as very marketing material to me. and not something that told us how they were really gonna manage the project. He actually did, I think, a little better in the oral presentation. He gave us a little more meat to chew on. I originally had a 10, I bumped that up a little bit.
I agree, I'm in the same category, just adequate, because I think what you're saying about dealing with the county and budgets and the grants should be taken into account, that's a factor, so I was at 12 also.
I'm at 15 for the same reason.
Okay, great. So we got a lot of 12s, we got 11s, we have 14, 12. No,
Well,
and that was A3.
yes.
For them. A4, current and projected workload. Out of a possible 20 points, I gave them a 15.
I gave them a 12, it just didn't. I didn't get a good sense of capacity.
I gave them 13, same situation. They have what, around 9 staff, with 2 engineering subcontractors, are really challenging to figure out. Current future workloads are and how they tie to our specific needs.
I gave him a 16. I saw pretty much the same information that I saw in some of the other proposals for our smaller firms. I understand we're not supposed to be comparing them, but they met the same expectations I had, which, yeah, I struggle with this category.
I'm in the same bucket too, I have 15.
Give them a 12.
So we got 12, we got 15, we got a 16. Here, 14, recommended 14. 15 was the highest, or was 16?
I was 16.
16 was the highest.
16 to 12, yeah.
16 to 12, recommended 14.
I'm okay with
Can
14.
everybody live with 14?
Yes.
14, sir.
Yes.
14.
That brings us to our final firm, Sandbar Architecture.
And Sandbar. And so for ability of the firm and personnel, I gave them a 21.
I gave them a 20. They had some HUD my note just says HUD subsidized Rose County only in terms of their professional personnel. But they had an adequate split.
I gave them a 20 as well, and noted that the local consultants bolster the application.
I had a 16.
Okay.
The lower on them.
Yeah, so I had an 18. I didn't see anything in the written proposal about geotech civil. And they were very heavy in not residential. One of the gentlemen listed off a very impressive array of experience that included everything but residential.
I had an 18.
18.
I had a 20.
20. Okay, I want to say 21 was probably the highest score here. And we got some down to, was that a 16 or?
I had 16, but even if that, I go higher. I go there.
Okay, and so,
That category,
Just you go higher. It's not
it's
fun.
like the adequate level of experience goes from 15 to 21. Just
right, 18.
18.
18, sir.
18 for Sandbar criteria.
18%. Experience with similar projects, 25 maximum points, I gave them 18.
I gave them a 12 because while they had some relatable work, there really wasn't much disaster recovery type work. It was all renovation.
Yeah.
They did one, replacement home, but
Right.
they didn't get much more than that.
Right, and I remember when I asked specifically about the elevated housing program to see if any of those was around it. And so it was more of them passing on information to the residents as opposed to them working with that program. So,
I gave them a 16, and I have a little note here that says Mohan Engineering, which is one of the consultants, has that experience.
I gave it 14.
okay,
We didn't see a ton of experience.
I gave them 12. The experience didn't seem like it fit to me, but my biggest beef is they didn't tell us who the client was in the written proposal.
I actually had them on the low end here at a 10. Just again, that thought that the projects in their written proposal, I have no idea when, like how relevant they are, like timeframe wise. And again, size and type, there's like a one-off house here and there, so just a quantity of work.
I just know when the Elevate Housing Program came out, so, you know, for me, but not that they identified it, or anything, so. Still, but,
I have them at a 15. I mean, the fact that they've even done projects in Florida, it's a little bit of. That's.
Thank you, and so, I did score them at, so we got a high of 18, we got a low of 10, and,
We've got all the numbers.
yeah. Well, but just listening to everybody's response, you know, I think that, you know, some very valid points are made here. And so can we live with a 15? Within.
Yes.
15, sir. Okay, and so for A3, the ability to meet schedule and budget, gave them a 15 out of a max of 20 points.
I gave them a 12 here as well. I specifically, had asked them about. That's the next one. I keep confusing them, but I had. No, we're on third one. We're on ability to meet schedule, so budget requirements. Yeah, I had them at a 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also have them as 12.
Okay.
And I had 14.
Any context?
Again, with me, it comes down to the size of the,
Thank you.
not that I won't say it's all about willingness, but also about, do I think they can
Capacity.
ramp up and do capacity?
Thank you, sir.
So I gave them a 12, actually not even thinking about the size of the firm. There were a lot of the right words in the schedule and budget section on the paper. And could be a limitation with me, but the words were there, but I didn't get a good cohesive picture of how they manage projects.
I had them at a 12 for this category.
I had them at 15 based on adequate staff.
Okay, so we got a high of 15, we got a low of 12.
That was 14.
Okay, 14,
14, sure.
okay, number 14.
It's 14.
Okay. And we are moving right along here. And we're at A4, and this is for current and projected projects, current and projected workloads. Out of a maximum of 20 points, I gave them 14.
I gave them a 15, and again, it was the clarification on their slide, what whether those numbers are 50%, 60%, and 75% were workload or availability. So it just doesn't translate for me how some of their key players are only available 15% of the time.
I gave them a 14, and I was mostly focusing on the narrative and charts around page 26, which include the workload charts.
Right, for the same reasons. I saw it as a 15 though.
Okay.
Gave them a 16. I mean, I saw what I expected to see and I used to write these proposals. So, but it's almost like a check box. Okay, it's in there.
So I gave him a 14 on this, and before I forget, I would just like to point out that I appreciated that today they spent a lot of time addressing our conversation.
Yes.
Them in particular, that
Right.
they went through every single question we had and really addressed all those space. So that bumped my score up a little bit today.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for adding that too, because I think effort really counts.
Give them a 14.
Okay, so we got some, we got a 16 and we got some 14s, all hovering around
15.
14 and 15. And yours was,
I was 14.
was
I
14.
can live with a 15 if that's what you go.
If there were 15. Yeah.
Okay, can everybody live with a 15?
Yes.
Okay, 15, sir.
Got it. Yeah, give me 1 second here just to finish adding up.
All right.
Okay, that concludes the scoring. I'm gonna go through each of our firms and just read the criteria one by one. When I get to the end of the portion you guys scored for each firm, you'll just confirm that the scoring is correct. I'll then announce the volume of work and past performance rating scores for each firm and give their subtotals. So we'll start at the top, Barrel Project Engineering. I have them down for a 32 out of 35 for criteria 1, a 24 out of 25 for criteria 2, a 17 out of 20 for criteria 3, and a 17 out of 20 for criteria 4. Does that sound correct?
Correct.
They also received 5 points for volume of work and 3 points for past performance rating for a subtotal score of 98. Cobalt Engineering and Inspections LLC receives 32 for criteria 1, 23 for criteria 2, 16 for criteria 3, and 17 for criteria 4. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
They also received 5 points for volume of work and 3 for past performance rating for a total score of 96. CSA Central Inc. received 29 for criteria 1, 19 for criteria 2, 17 for criteria 3, and 17 for criteria 4. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
That is 5 points. They also received 5 points for volume of work and 3 for past performance rating for a subtotal of 90. Forefront Architecture and Engineering received 27 for criteria 1, 19 for criteria 2, 16 for criteria 3, and 16 for criteria 4. Correct?
That is correct.
Also received 5 points for volume of work and 3 for past performance rating for a subtotal of 86. Innovation Design and Consulting Engineers received 18 for criteria 1, 20 for criteria 2, 16 for criteria 3, and 16 for criteria 4.
Correct.
They also received 5 points of volume of work and 3 for past performance rating for a subtotal of 78. Jarrell McCants Architecture Inc. received 28 for criteria 1, 19 for criteria 2, 17 for criteria 3, and 17 for criteria 4. Is that correct?
I'm gonna have 29,
Which one?
for A1.
For A1?
28.
You got 28?
And 28.
28.
Okay.
28 incorrect, okay. They also received 5 for volume of work and 3 for past performance for a total of 89.
Okay.
Plus LLC received 22 for criteria 1, 10 for criteria 2, 12 for criteria 3, and 14 for criteria 4. Correct?
Yes.
They received 5 for volume of work and 3 for past performance for a total of 66. And finally, Sandbar Architecture received 18 for criteria 1, 15 for criteria 2, 14 for criteria 3, and 15 for criteria 4. Correct? Perfect. 5 for volume of work and 3 for past performance rating gives them a subtotal of 70. So if I were to rank them in order here, you have Barrel Project Engineering ranked first with 98 points. Cobalt Engineering and Inspections ranked second with 96 points. CSA Central ranked third with 90 points. Jarrell McCants ranked fourth with 89 points. Forefront Architecture ranked fifth with 86 points. Innovation Design and Consulting ranking sixth with 78. Sandbar Architecture ranking seventh with 70, and Plus ranking eighth with 66. So that will conclude today's evaluation committee meeting for RPS 25-00379. Proposers, please continue to monitor UNO for future updates related to this solicitation. Have a great day.